Hey there, everyone. So, we've been playing a Dungeons and Dragons game for about 12 sessions now weekly. And I wanted to start doing these campaign diaries. Basically, I got the idea from Matt Colville. Actually, literally, the idea from Matt Colville's videos, where he recaps the session and then he talks about, as a dungeon master, how he felt things went, what could have gone differently, what he had planned. And yeah, whew, oh my god. I'm just gonna kind of give a recap of what we've been doing up to now, because I'm starting with session 12 because this session was fucking insane. But we've been playing a game of Waterdeep Dragon Heist. The adventure came out. Oh wow, I guess it's been a little while now. It's been out, but it's basically the idea is that you have this party of adventurers start from level one, and they're in the city of Waterdeep, and they get embroiled in this quest for a cachet of 500,000 gold pieces that was embezzled by the previous Open Lord of Waterdeep, Daggle Neverember. So our party consists of four players. We have Quick, who is this tiefling sorcerer, multiclass into cleric. We have Bryn, who's this high elf cleric. Sundry, who's a high elf paladin, and Harvey Birdman Whoosh, who's an Aarakocra rogue. Now they met at the Yawning Portal Tavern, separate people. They weren't a group before this, but they just kind of all happened to instigate and get involved into some brawls and some fights at the tavern, and they were propositioned by a local writer and kind of celebrity around Waterdeep, Volothamp Gedarm, who asked them to find his partner and friend Floon Bragmar, who disappeared after a night of drinking. And this quest led them to meeting Rainier Neverember, who's the son of Daggle Neverember, and kind of gets them started, and they learn about this cachet of gold, and they then kind of make roots in Waterdeep in the North Ward and Trollskull Alley. And, whew, so my players have kind of, in this version of Waterdeep, I've been playing with a lot of all the different villains, because there's the Xanathar Guild, which is this criminal organization run by the Beholder Xanathar. There's the Castellanter family, who this noble family who are secretly cultists of Asmodeus. And there's also the Zentarum, which I didn't really. Technically, the Zentarum Guild has this leader, Manchun, who's a secret wizard, but I haven't really. He was the one villain that kind of left on the side, just because I wasn't super interested in Manchun and I didn't know exactly how to run him. And then there's Jorlaxel Brene from the Brigand Art, who's very famous D&D. If anyone's fans of R.S. Salvatore's, book series of, he's a very, very popular character. So this group is kind of, they became very friendly with the Castellanter family when they found out the Castellanters gave them this story that basically their oldest son made a deal with Asmodeus and accidentally sold the souls of the twins. That's my cat. Mentos is very adorable, but loves to play in the blinds. Hey, how's it going? The Castellanters gave them the story about how, they didn't, their oldest son made this deal and he didn't know exactly the details and gave up the souls of their twin children as payment. In actuality, the Castellanters were the ones who made the deal, and they were giving away their children's souls. But that's why the adventurers were in the beginning helping the Castellanters to get this gold, because the payment instead of the twin souls was 500,000 gold pieces to pay for the price of the souls of these children. Eventually, the players in the party learn through Joe Axel, actually, accidentally, that the Castellanters were the one who made this deal, and that the price for their children's souls is 100 souls sacrificed on the day of Founders Day, which is a local holiday, and the 500,000 gold pieces. So at this point, our party has collected the Stone of Galore, which is this item that basically shows you where the location of the vault is. And they have met with Laurel Silverhand, who is the current Open Lord, the leader, the highest governmental official in Waterdeep. So where we pick up at the beginning of this session, our heroes were with Laurel Silverhand, and they were about to use this red grimoire, this book of spells that they found in the Castellanter household that has the commune spell, so that the party could speak with a proxy of Asmodeus. Their thinking was, all right, we'll talk to this proxy and see if we can bargain for or change the deal that the Castellanters made so that they could save the lives of the twins. And I was playing the proxy as kind of like an intern. So there's this hellmouth opens when they do the spell, and this little desk pops up, and there's just this intern at a desk who's welcome to Office of Asmodeus, Lord of the Nine Hells, Old Cloven, Hoof in Hell, bargainer for law and freedom for all devils. How can I help you? And very nonchalant about everything. And so they discuss with this devil, and they came to an agreement, which the devil kind of figured out that they can create a new contract. He'll create a new contract with a member of the party that has inside the fine print, whatever, negating the effects of the Castellanter contract. However, the payment, their payment that they must make is 500,000 gold pieces, which the Castellanter family did have their half, because the price was originally 1,000,000 gold pieces for the Castellanters to pay off for the twin souls, and so it was going to be 500,000 from their own stash, and then 500,000 from the stash that was stolen from the city. So it's 500,000 gold pieces, the souls of Lord and Lady Castellanter, and any creature being anything with a soul that Harvey Birdman Whoosh that dies by Harvey's hand is immediately taken to the Nine Hells. So Harvey gets this branding on the inside of his forearm. That's the number 100. And so now we have a ticking clock of Harvey now has a brand on him, a devil's mark, that basically shows how many people or things that he has to kill. And so it would be interesting. I need to look into the details and stuff of how I'm actually going to do this. What's going to constitute as a creature with a soul, and what's going to go to the Nine Hells. And so it'll be interesting to see the numbers slowly go down. And also, part of why the devil was good with making this deal is because A, they're still getting 100 souls. B, especially now that there's this the new D&D story coming out, which is Descent, Baldur's Gate into Avernus. They talk about soul coins, and that's going to be this new kind of mechanic in D&D. And so I had the idea of all right, well, with the amount of crazy, horrible things the Lord and Lady Castellanter have done, their soul coins are worth about 500,000 gold pieces. So that was the idea of how the devil in his mind is able to make up this price. Is all right, give me the Lord and Lady, that's 500,000, and then another 500,000, that's the 1,000,000 gold pieces that we were looking for. And then Harvey will kill 100 creatures, which also leads into kind of something that devils love to do, which is corruption. They love corrupting good-natured and noble people. And it was funny because our tiefling sorcerer Quick was you want me to do it? I can do it. She was almost a little too eager to kind of take this burden on, which makes sense for her character though, because she's very much a caretaker, and she very much would be okay with shouldering this burden. And I think it'll be interesting to see how this plays, because she obviously her character is kind of not comfortable with other people shouldering burdens, and very much wants to do these things herself. So after they make this deal, we go to the next day, and they'd promised that they were going to meet with the Castellanter family. Their idea was, we're gonna go in, because the Castellanters don't know that they know anything about their real dealings. So they're gonna go in, use the stone, find out the location, send a paper bird to Laurel Silverhand with the location of the Vault of Dragons so that Laurel can bring her troops there, they can get the gold, and they can figure out what's going to happen. What the party didn't know is that the main butler that they've been meeting uh, with the Castellanter family, is actually a doppelganger in disguise, and he has the ability to detect thoughts. And so the next day, you're coming into this household that you are trying to deceive, and their base thoughts, it's you can't really hide it, and so the Lord and Lady, they figure out that the Vault of Dragons, I kind of changed it a little bit, is underneath the Neverember Mausoleum inside the City of the Dead, which I thought kind of was nice and brought it all back around. Because one of the first things, going back to Rainier Neverember and his family, and so tying it back into that instead of it just being a location in the city, I thought was interesting. So they find out the location. The Lord and Lady are like, all right, we're gonna get our troops, we're gonna get everyone there, and we're gonna get our wagons, and we're gonna go. And they leave. There were only two of our party members were available that day, so leave Harvey and Quick there, and then that's when the doppelganger surprises them and attacks. And that encounter actually went pretty quickly. Quick is a monster. Not in like she's evil, but she's just a damage dealing fiend. Like she is just does crazy damage. She basically takes out the doppelganger on her own. They're level 4, by the way. I think I forgot to mention that they're a 4th level party. But Harvey has some problems because they're fighting the doppelganger, and then two imps appear. And one thing that those imps, even though they attack and they only do a D4 damage, they also have poison damage, a 3d6, and you take half damage on a failed save. And so Harvey was just getting ripped to shreds. Even though he would save, he's still taking half 3d6 damage, and at level 4 he only has 27 hit points, so he was looking rough. But Quick was able to, it's funny because he would keep on missing, and Quick was able to help dispatch of them as well. And after that, they're in the third story, and the private study of the Castellanters, and they could hear guards moving downstairs, and so they had to book it. They were going from room to room, trying to look for windows or anything. They eventually get to the twins' playroom, where there's a set of double pane windows, and they hear the guards coming into the next room. And so they open up the window, and the guards burst in, chucks a spear, misses, because I always roll badly and stuff. Quick jumps out the window and lands, did an acrobatics check and rolled like a 21. So she landed on the wall. And Harvey, being Eric Okra, he just flew out the window. The guards threw more spears, missed. They started running down the streets. Harvey just flew off into the air. Quick had another spear thrown, but missed again. She was able to get kind of into the crowd, and then she was pulled into an alley by a Zentarum member, who is actually friend and lover of her close friend, Fala Lefalier. Fala is one of the shopkeepers in Troll Skull Alley, where the hero's base of operations is. They're the potions and kind of a local druid. And so this Zentarum member is just like, kind of pulls her aside and shushes her, and there's the guards pass by. He's just like, well, good seeing you, and I guess we'll talk later. And he just leaves, and Quick casts disguise self on herself, and then she heads off. She heads to Fala's shop, while Harvey goes back to their manor in Troll Skull Alley. Quick sends a message to Rainier Neverember, who actually is the bartender at their tavern that they own, and tells him to send a message to Silverhand that it's at the mausoleum, it's going down. And so he does that. Quick goes to talk to Fala, and Quick gets Fala to send a message through an animal messenger to her friend with the Zentarum that, hey, bring the Doom Raiders, who are like this elite group of Zentaran soldiers, to the Neverember Mausoleum, cause chaos. And Harvey sends his own paper bird to Jeff, uh, this goblin this goblin girl that he met that works with this local gang in the dock ward. They're a gang. They're like a very noble gang. They're like, people. They're like kind of Robin Hoody. They protect monster type creatures and people who might be seen as outcasts from society. But he sends a paper bird to her saying, "Hey, come to the city of the dead. Come to Neverember Mausoleum. I got myself into some crazy shit." And they all gather together at the manor, and all of them, Harvey, Quick, Sundry, Bryn, and Vernier, all meet up at the manor, and they're like, okay, now we're going to Neverember Mausoleum. And they all leave the tavern, and that's where we left off from that session. I did not see things going all that way. So I planned on them trying to make some sort of deal with the devil. And the only thing that I could think of that would really counter off the deal with the devil didn't really went exactly about how I planned. I was planning on one of the characters having to be branded and having to deal with the fact that they are sending souls to the Nine Hells. That was something I really wanted one of the players to have to deal with was, hey, like every time you make the killing blow on a creature, they are going to the Nine Hells. Possibly as a soldier in the Blood War, possibly to be transformed into a soul coin. Like, that is something you are going to have to deal with. And maybe there's the idea of possibly later on they go to the Nine Hells and they try to break this seal or break this contract, or they just ride it out. That's the interesting thing about this is, there's just so many opportunities for roleplay elements and for the characters to kind of deal with the repercussions of their actions, even though it was for a noble deed trying to save the life of twin children of these children. There's repercussions to that, to being noble, and so I'm very excited with how that went. And also because in the original Dragon Heist, it doesn't really say how you can save the children. It doesn't really give you an option. And just for me personally, I know some people, it's a great story of like, no matter what, the children's souls still get taken, and maybe that leads to a quest where they go to the Nine Hells and they save the children's souls. I don't know, but for me personally, that's just not the type of story I want to tell. I'd rather they save the children and then one of the characters have, personally have a deal with the devil rather than the children be horribly tormented or whatever, because that just doesn't vibe with me. So that went exactly how I really planned it. It was some great roleplay moments, and having Quick be a tiefling, it was great for because she was very nonchalant with the devil, and so they had this great back and forth where she's just like, yeah, soul coins, of course, I know everything about that. But just in case my friend doesn't know, could you just explain that a little bit? And it was also fun for this temp guy. He's just like a basic, regular temp at the Asmodeus Law offices. Because there's nothing I can think more like hell than a law office. So it's almost, for me, I like to envision Asmodeus's Ring of the Nine Hells, the 9th level, as Wolfram and Hart from Angel. That's like my mental image of what it looks like, because I love the idea of hellish lawyers. So that went perfectly, exactly how I planned. The Castellanter Villa, I was curious how it was going to go, because I gave the characters a map and I said, you're in this room. Just go. Just try to find a way out. And so there were a lot of different rooms that had different... it was interesting. The location that they were, Harvey was able to find this golden lockbox that was underneath the Castellanter's bed. And so that has some interesting stuff with it. We'll see if he remembers it, and if he actually opens it up. He'll have to pick the lock because it's super locked. But it'll be interesting to see if he remembers that and the fun stuff that's inside of there. But there were so many different ways that could have gone depending on where they tried to run to. that it could have, because a lot of those rooms have a lot of dangerous things in them. They almost went into a closet that had a rug of smothering in it, and they were already kind of, battle hardened from the fight with the doppelganger and the two imps. So they almost went into that closet, and they would have been into another encounter with the rug of smothering, and they were almost into an encounter with some guards and possibly like a bearded devil or two. So they just narrowly escaped that one. If I had rolled better, I would have gotten some more damage in, but sadly, I just have bad luck with rolls sometimes, especially in like moments like that where they're running away. I was just rolling like sixes and nines, and even with their pluses, I still wasn't able to hit them. But what really got me was after they left the Castle Intervilla, and when Quick decided to go to Fala Lefalier's shop, Corellin's Crown, and Harvey went to Trollskull Manor, because I knew that they were gonna contact Laurel Silverhand because Laurel Silverhand told them to, and was gonna bring some City Watch, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. But then when Quick decided to get Fala to send a message to the Zentarum to cause chaos at the mausoleum and attack and any Castellanter, she said, cause chaos to the Castellanters. Like, that was a whole nother thing of like, okay, so that's, oh geez, that'll be interesting. And then Harvey invited they're nicknamed the Monster Children, but they're this local gang and group of a Tabaxi rogue named Maceris, or no, a Tabaxi monk by the name of Maceris, who's the leader. Jeff, and I literally spell it like Jepff. It was this joke that in Goblin, it's the sound of blowing air is like part of the language. Jeff, who's this goblin rogue, who her and Harvey have kind of the beginnings of a romance, and Bopkin, who's this bullywug creature who mostly speaks in ribbits. And so inviting them as well, the brigand. So I have so many different groups to figure out how, because this is going to turn into a full-scale war in the City of the Dead. I mean, you have the Doom Raiders of the Zentarum, you have the Castellanters who are on their way there with who knows how many devils and creatures with them. You have the Brigand Art, who are most likely going to show up. You have the City Watch, who are going to show up. And it's just going to turn into all-out chaos. And I'm really excited and really interested to see how this is going to go. But I'm going to have to do some planning to figure out how this is all going to kind of weave and work together. Because tomorrow, next week's session is literally going to be a dungeon crawl of the Vault of Dragons. But I think I'm going to try to... We'll see how it goes. Because these factions are all going to be attacking each other, and I think instead of it being like a normal roll initiative encounter, it's going to be very much like, okay, there's fireballs, there's this going everywhere, there's swords and daggers. You need to run through this battle to get to the vault, to go down, to then find the gold, and then after that, it's really Founders Day, which is the day that the Castellanters' souls are going to be claimed by this devil, which is the interesting thing. The Lord and Lady don't know about this, is that with the deal that they made, their souls are going to be claimed. So they already have a plan to sacrifice 100 souls at their Founders' Day dinner. So our party is probably going to have to still go to that dinner and try to stop their plan before they're able to enact it. And man, it's gonna be crazy. It's this party never fails to surprise me in using the resources and using the NPCs and the relationships that they have made, which is really exciting for me because it very much shows they're paying attention and their attention to detail, and also it strengthens and empowers these relationships with their NPCs. So I'm just really excited to get into full-blown chaos. It's going to be fucking nuts. So that is all of my thoughts on this last session of Dungeons and Dragons. I might go back and do some videos on some prior sessions, or not, just depending. I think might just continue on from here and do these probably weekly. But yeah, man, Dungeons and Dragons, it's really cool. Oh my god.